Welcome to the Enthusiast Gaming Podcast, where today we're going to be discussing Game of the Year. Yes, everybody, it's that time of year. However, we're not talking about 2022. We're talking about 1992. That's how we do things around here. What was the Game of the Year in 1992? So we're going to discuss some heavy hitters from different consoles available at the time. We'll have another category for some random stuff also. And just so you guys know, you can really help us out by supporting us over on Patreon. Patreon.com/nerdenthusiast. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. At the $5 tier, you guys start getting early ad-free access to all of our shows. You can get shout-outs like Malabix. Thank you for supporting us this month, Malabix. We definitely appreciate your support.
Yes, thank you so much. Truly appreciate it.
You guys can also follow us on social media at Nerdenthusiast. We are on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all those things. We do have a Hive. Haven't really put any effort into that yet, so coming soon, ? We'll see if Twitter falls apart. Let's not mess around anymore. Let's hop right into things this month. We have a lot to go over. The back half of the show, just so you guys know, is going to be covering some retro game prices. If you're listening on audio feeds. On YouTube, we're going to chop this all up so it'll all make sense to you as you see it. But the last part is going to be over retro game prices and where they're at, leaving 2022 and entering 2023. Now, the first segment we have is about the SNES in 1992, where we picked 3 titles from this that were standouts to us that we need to mention. Wes, I'm going to let you take the first one.
All right, man. 1992. It's like 30 years ago. I can remember it like it was yesterday.
It is. It's 30 years. These games are all 30 years or older. The exception of maybe one or two that may have come out in December of 1992.
Yeah, man.
By the time you're hearing this, they'll all be at least 30 years old.
Got that Twilight Zone thing going on. Going back in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Super Nintendo, 1992 was a big year for them. Big year. Because they had probably the biggest title released on their platform, which was Street Fighter 2. You know, we talked about Street Fighter 2 several times, talking about arcade ports on one of our videos. Street Fighter 2 is huge. Huge.
I mean, it was massive in the arcades, and then, everybody was dying to get them on a home console. We didn't know how the ports would translate. Obviously, ended up being better on SNES, at least at first. Genesis got, a version out on theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up releasing a 6-button controller, which, of course, was necessary. But this was a big win for SNES, getting Street Fighter on their platform, and it played best on SNES, for sure.
Yeah, man. And then we had Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past.
I mean,
another huge popular title, man.
When you talk Zelda, most people say their favorite one is Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time. Sometimes you hear Wind Waker, but usually it's Ocarina of Time or Link to the Past.
Link to the Past comes up in a lot of conversation.
Certainly does. I love Link to the Past, but Ocarina of Time is in my heart, man. Like, Ocarina of Time is like... That's one of the few games... I don't know how many times I beat that game, Wes. And I can't say that about hardly any... I hardly ever replay a game. And I've probably replayed that game at least 5 times.
Wow. Okay.
It's so good.
I was trying to get through it once, and I was good.
Oh, man. Except the water temple. Everything is great except the water temple. That shit was so confusing. Even when you know how to beat it, I'm still like going back and like, what switch do I have to hit? And what... Other than the water temple, though, it's like a perfect game.
Okay. And then another huge title, which we got the introduction of a franchise in Mario Kart.
I mean,
there you go.
Mario Kart, present day, talk about that for a second. It's the biggest selling game on the Nintendo Switch. And it was a re-release from the one on the Nintendo Wii. Mm-hmm. Mario Kart is just an extreme powerhouse. It was like easily one of Nintendo's top franchises. It's such an accessible game to play. It doesn't matter your age. It's something you can figure out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's so much fun to play. So much fun to play, and then especially with the introduction of like the multiplayer, like 4 players, like on Nintendo 64 just got better, got more fun.
I played a hell of a lot of the battle mode for the Super
Hmm.
Nintendo, man. My neighbor had it growing up, and he came over to my house. We played Genesis stuff. He had a Super Nintendo, so I go to his house. We play Super Nintendo stuff. But Mario Kart was like a go-to. It's like, you know, Super Mario World was always up there.
Hmm.
TMNT, Turtles in
Hmm.
Time was always up there. But Mario Kart was like,
Yep,
every day we're playing some Mario Kart. Every day. We're playing that battle mode. We're doing some races. It,
it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. But yeah, those were three hugely popular titles released in 1992, 30 years ago for the Super Nintendo. So
Yeah, this episode, if we haven't brought it home to you yet, is to make all you guys feel old that know what we're talking about, and to educate you guys if you're younger and have no idea what the hell was happening in 1992. But those are some of the games you should, if you don't have those, or if you haven't played them before, you should certainly go back and play those. Whether you use emulation or you pick up a Super Nintendo, you got to grab those games.